Hi, I'm Andrew Klavan, and it's time once again for us to come together and step into the circle of trust. And for those of you not yet inside the circle of trust, hurry up and get into the circle of trust. That means you, Bill Whittle.
Bad touch. Bad touch. I'm staying here.
Here we go. We're going to answer questions from viewers today. We've got an historical question from PJTV Facebook fan Sam Cox. Sam asks, is this what it was like in the 1770s when the men we call the founders were debating the principles of liberty and organizing the separation of themselves and their colonies from oppressive English rule? To survive, will liberty have to make a similar break from the increasingly oppressive American rule? What do you think? That's a pretty profound question.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I find myself thinking, especially during the last 2 years, needless to say, a lot of the systemic problems that we're seeing in terms of budget and stuff has been going on for a long time, but so many of the things that this president have done have turned the country completely around. And I find myself more and more these days being ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed of this situation with Israel. I'm ashamed of what happened in Honduras when we backed this communist power grab. I'm ashamed of selling out the Poles and the Czechs who stuck their necks out with a belligerent Russia hovering over them so that they could do this missile defense shield, only to have the president just pull it back on him on the 70th anniversary of the invasion of Poland. I'm ashamed of a president who gives our stalwart allies an iPod. I'm ashamed of all these things. And I find myself, for the first time in my life, fearing and often really disliking my government. Not the flag.
Yeah.
That's different. That's the people, but the government. And it's interesting he mentioned the 1770s, because for the first time in my life, I have some perspective on what pain it must have caused our founding fathers to break with England. You always think, oh, America. They were going to America, man. You know, they had the big America coming. No, they were British subjects. They loved their crown. They loved their king. They were patriots.
Right.
It took a lot to get them to the point where they said, I don't want to be an Englishman anymore. And I don't want it to get to the point where I'm saying I don't want to be an American anymore.
No, that would be a horrible
thing. Yes. We are at a point now where we are going to have either a rebirth of the principles that founded this country or an abandonment of them. We can't continue the way that we're going now. It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, I think we really are coming very close to, not to use a cliche, but coming very close to a tipping point. And what worries me is not so much this administration, because we've had this is the worst administration of my lifetime, but we've had bad administrations before, and we've had administrations that have done bad things before. So I'm not, nobody can do that much harm in 4 years, and I feel like he could come and go, and we'd be sitting around saying, that was bad, but now it's over. What I am worried about is I'm worried about the people. I'm worried about whether the people are going to grasp the nettle and say, yes, we have to cut back things. We have to say no, don't give us as much, take less, let us be free, let us do what it is Americans do. And I'm worried that the people are going to stop and say, no, I want my Medicare, I want this, you promised me that, you promised me this. And that, it bothers me, this special election that they just had in New York State, where the Republican lost because the Democrat hit her repeatedly on Medicare. Oh, they're stealing your Medicare, they're stealing your Medicare. She demagogued it to death, and won a conservative district for the Democrats. And I'm worried that people are going to fall for that they're not going to stand up and say, you know what, it's time to stop, we've had enough.
As far as your New York race goes, if you take the Republican and the wolf in sheep's clothing, the Tea Party guy, if you take the Republican votes and the Tea Party votes, they won.
Yes.
More people were in favor of cutting the budget than against it. They just split the vote.
Yeah, that is reassuring.
That's number one. Number two, you're absolutely right. This idea of small government and liberty is swimming upstream. When you offer people something for nothing, well, of course, nothing is for nothing, but if you say, we'll just take all your money and we'll give you all this stuff, we'll make everything free, free healthcare, free housing, free all this other stuff. You are giving people candy, and it's harder to talk people into not eating candy than it is to eating it. Our entire history has been swimming upstream, and that ability to do it up to this point has been propelled by constant telling of the American story and a visualization of the wonders of American society. Once the left started knocking that down, you don't have that impetus to go upstream anymore. I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I am too. But we'll have to bring it back. Okay, that's all we have time for. Because we're extremely important and have other things to do. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, let us know. Leave them in the comments section below or on the PJTV Facebook page. For Bill Whittle and PJTV, I'm Andrew Klavan. We'll see you next time.